Welcome back to the Return of Horror. Now, I'm doing this a little differently, similar to what I did when I re-uploaded the first episode as a fourth episode. Today, I want to talk about a both a tribute, but also a good talk through if some of you nowadays have no idea what this is, and that's TNT's MonsterVision. TNT, back in the year 1991, created a series called MonsterVision, a series before a horror movie starts. So basically, having special guests. They had special guests. I think it was Penn and Teller, great music, great magicians, and I think I heard their comedy as well. But I've never heard of them very much. So, and then they also had back in 1995 all the way to 2000 Joe Bob Briggs. Um, that one I've known since Cinemassacre's Monster Madness, and that helped me out a bunch about what Monster Vision was. So Monster Vision was kind of like a style back then that TNT created. Like Snick originally was, a style as well. It was like a style of a series every Saturday morning before the event came on. Before like your own shows, like their episodes or even movies came on the air, it was Monster Vision. There was like different types. Like there was like it originally was like Monster Vision or Moonster Vision if it was space, and then there was a Christmas Nightmare where they did a Stinkers episode, a B movie Stinkers episode of horror movies every December. So it was a very interesting ideas that Monster Vision wanted to create for the horror that we all see today. And then when they got to the slasher genre, that's where I think everything got a little stale for them because of the censorship. See, See, with Monster Vision, they already went up towards the classics already. Now it's starting to go towards the slasher genres like Freddy Krueger, Halloween, Jason Voorhees, and other horror movies that, are part of this type of genre. A modern genre where the rules do not apply in horror. And that's what I think horror is supposed to be. There are no rules to it, everything goes. And that's what I like horror about. Anything will go, even if it's kid friendly or if it's horrifying like this. But TNT's censorship and even the MPAA, which I will always really rant on, they don't even know that there are no rules in horror. Sure, there maybe you could put a couple of them in there if it's the good parts, like how I talk about YouTube with the nudity censorship. I think that's a good rule because YouTube is not a pornographic site. It is literally a regular TV site for people to have fun on, make tutorials, make some funny videos, reactions, and even putting some old school stuff on YouTube for mostly both the kids, but also the adults to watch as well to bring them back to the past. That's what I think YouTube is. But censorships on TNT's Monster Vision was too bad because when it was Friday the 13th marathon with Joe Bob Briggs, it came a big down the stale that everybody wanted. It just censored everything in there, even the kills. What's the point of watching a slasher movie, hence the term slasher movie, if you don't show the kills? There's no point in it. There's no point of censoring anything. The censors are too sensitive. And not only that, they hate Tom Savini for some reason. Most of his work has gotten censored because of that. And I don't know why. It was easier in the 70s because at least he has enough room to mess with. But once I think like 80s to the 90s hit, it's like they just hate him. I don't know why. He's a good man. He is the king of splatter. He he was great. He's acted in a couple of movies before. He's done the monster designs and makeup designs. He is the creator of monsters, and not only that, a Vietnam. He was in Vietnam back in '68. So it was a very interesting time for him. He's my man. I love Tom Savini. Just as much as I like George A. Romero, rest in peace, the legend of zombies himself. I love like Tom Savini because he's the man who created these effects for the monsters. But I'm going more into TNT's Monster Vision. But I'm also talking a huge good. If you want to see a better tribute than what I'm doing right now, you can again look at Monster Madness, Cinemassacre's Monster Madness, before I think Camp Cult. That was after Monster Madness 3, and he talks more on Monster Vision than I do. But I really do want to put my words on it that I think in my eyes, MonsterVision should make a return. But here's my kicker here. There are a couple of things that I have to say if I want MonsterVision to return. The first one is the censorship can't be so restrictive. There can't be so many restrictive parts on MonsterVision, especially if it's TNT. You look at MTV and TNT, they can have like different types of censors. If it's cursing, yeah, it's fine. Even though it pisses me off still, it's fine. But if it's anything else, it's fair game. Anything else, it's fair game. And come on, you think a child is going to see a horror movie? Then the only child who's going to see a horror movie is if it's a bad parent, or if it's one of my parents, because they showed me horror and I loved it. I loved it as a child. There are some that I got scared of, but I loved it as a child. I love the horror movies that I watched back then. So my suggestion is it should be for adults only, and there should be no cut scenes. I am sick and tired of people cutting scenes for no reason whatsoever, just because they want to fit a runtime or something. If it's a movie, let us watch it. If it's going to be a marathon, let us watch it. Second one, it has to have at least a guest that I think could pass through a few years. You had guests on there like Joe Bob Briggs originally. Maybe you could make him have a good comeback return, maybe. Or you could pick a different one. Pick a different one that loves the style of horror and embraces it. The third one, in my opinion, like pretty much like what they did originally with calls, I think it was like prizes to win. At least something like that. Or create your own style of marathons on MonsterVision. So like more like different types of marathons that have different types of movies, like originally little titles but big scares, or your Christmas marathon that you did originally, even though it's a very silly marathon. Or if you're going for the space marathon, you go back to MonsterVision. So I think that something like this should come back. Things have to make a comeback. I've seen comebacks in Nickelodeon, like Snick originally, and I also looked at All That and Double Dare. Do I think they're good? Watching it a couple times, they're all right. I'm not into the style of them yet, but maybe I will someday. But for now, not really. But I definitely do prefer MonsterVision because I think this is the adult-only marathon for horror. You have other channels doing their own types of horrors and like horror stuff, putting horror movies on. Nowadays, we're so close to the internet, we have to make television a little bit more relevant again. If you want to make television more relevant again, you have to do something good. And that's one thing that I think should make a good return. And sooner or later, I probably might get myself either a both. My dad originally had a VHS player and a DVD player, like a double. So that means you can watch VHS movies and DVD movies. I think I need to find one someday. I want to hook it up to my TV, and I want to get some monster movies or other movies which I will always keep in the closet of surprises here, and just go through all those movies and just watch them time after time again, just to feel like it's something, you know? But I'm getting ahead of myself. I think MonsterVision should return a good fashion and with a big vengeance, and for people to love it again. And not only that, come on, those trailers were amazing. I highly recommend you find it mostly on Facebook, YouTube, other social media sites as well, because they're all over the place. Nowadays, most clips are blank VHS tapes that people have found on their old closets, so they dust them off and they put them on YouTube today. So the title that I have is a remastered title, like the remastered title for MonsterVision. So I hope you all can say, yeah, I should want this to return for TNT. But I do not want any censors messing with my MonsterVision if you guys love MonsterVision. But ladies and gentlemen, 10 days. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, 10 days until the witching hour is upon us, the rarest full moon. Halloween has 10 more days to come. Are you scared? Are you scared yet? Are you shaking out of your boots or me slippers? Because I am. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is going to be a very special one because we're going to be looking at another video game like Slender Man had a big, big cult following. And it's going to be spooky.